Mr. Pullen, when we waive the 5-year hold, we are basically saying that the land uses are different, and that this new land use, when it's brought into the town, will require uses that are dramatically different than what it was before it's brought into the town. But is it okay for a council to do that in the case of this particular thing and not set any precedent for the future that may be awkward or may hurt us down the road? Do you see what I mean?
Yes. The answer is yes, because each one of these questions is determined on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
And so this particular one compares the existing limited industrial zone in the county with the town's industrial zone. And the resolution finds that, yes, some of the uses are substantially different, and the town zoning would permit densities that exceed 50% of the existing county zoning, and therefore the opportunity to exercise a 5-year hold on the town's rezoning exists under state law. So the purpose for the town being here tonight is to request the council's permission to waive that 5-year hold, so that this site could be rezoned upon annexation.
But later, a year from now, some other applicant couldn't point to today's action and say, well, you did it for them, why aren't you doing it for me? Because we could make the argument that legally you can look at each item individually and it's not a precedent-setting vote.
Correct. And so the council has discretion as to whether or not to waive the hold. So those kind of discretionary decisions are not precedent-setting one to the next, because you could exercise your discretion one way on this application, right, and you could legitimately exercise it in a different way on a different application. Right. It's all fact specific.
And this particular instance, we are trying to assist a local business in staying where they are, in creating more jobs, and making an investment into the town. And so we have an economic development purpose for what we're doing, really, in many ways, right, in this case, which may be different than other things that we may consider later for other reasons. So, okay, thank you.
I wanted to ask one, well, it's not really a question, more of a comment. In looking at the Planning Commission's recommendation, it seemed like the use was similar, it's just a greater density. That basically you're going to be performing the same functions, but just at a higher density rate. Is that the case?
There's a little bit of a nuance there. There are a few uses that are different. I would say that the town zone allows a little bit heavier industry than the county zoning. So there's I think the Talbot County planning staff had the position that the uses actually were very similar, but it was the lot coverage that created a density issue. The Maryland Department of Planning had the opposite. They said there's no density issue, but the uses, because it allows heavier density, they're a little different. So that's why we're asking for both. But it's
the same business that's expanding. Is there other land available that a different business could come in, and that would cause more of a change than what we're experiencing with the current business that's looking to expand?
I mean, we're doing this because a current business wants to expand. In theory, they could sell in the future, and the future business would be bound by the uses that are permitted in the industrial zoning.
But there's no vacant land. I mean, it is right now, it is a business in this one spot. There's no vacant land where another business could take advantage of.
There's technically 2 lots.
2 lots.
One of them, does the building cross the line?
I was getting ready to say, I believe the building either currently crosses the line or will, with the proposed addition, cross the property line.
Which one does? You said
I don't recall if it
a boating
currently crosses that property line or the proposed addition would do that, but at the end of the expansion, it will be the case that the building will be across the property line.
Technically, what happens then when a single building crosses 2 lots, under Maryland law, those 2 lots are combined for zoning purposes by operation of law. And so the answer to your question is, no, there would not be a separate new lot created for development other than for the expansion of the existing plant.
Resolution is now eligible for vote. Any additional comment on the resolution? Thank you, Madam Secretary. Please call the roll on the vote on Resolution 218.
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Ms. Williams? Aye. Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution passes.